noticed it started to get a bit colder? Yeah, I have. So I've decided to make myself some socks because my feet are getting really cold. Will you come and join me? So I've been into Poundland and I've bought a pack of socks. There were 5 pairs in the pack for £3. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using today. I've took the biggest pair which they had, which I think was a size 1 to size 3 child's. So I've got that, and what I'm going to do now is, can you see that that's a turn over there? So what I want to do is make sure I keep that turn at the back, okay, of my socks. So what I've got here is a special piece of interfacing. You don't need hardly anything of it. I got this from eBay. I think you can use other things. Maybe you could try it on a piece of paper or something, but obviously I had this, so I'm going to use it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my sock onto my piece of interfacing like so, making sure where that seam is here, okay, I want that to be in the middle, alright, like that, alright, there, and then I'm going to pull my lace up like that, and then I'm going to pin my sock to my interfacing, okay. Now this interfacing is a tear interfacing. What we're going to do is we're going to, now when you sew with a knit fabric, which this is, it's a stretchy knit fabric, what you need to do is make sure that you use a zigzag stitch, okay? And then using the zigzag stitch is a little bit harder because we don't want a massive thick zigzag, so your machine is going to move a lot slower when you're using it, okay? So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine now. Okay, so I've just got my sock all ready to go, but first of all I want to, maybe I just use some velvet on it. Can you see all the bits of velvet on it? That's why you have to be careful and make sure you clean your machines out every now and again. Okay, I want my needle to be in that middle position, okay? So that when I start it off, it's in the middle, and then I want my stitches to be a lot smaller, so I'm going to bring it down there onto that number 2, okay, and then the stitch I want is the zigzag stitch. All right, so I'm going to press, and that'll make sure that I get my zigzag stitch, okay. Then coming over to my foot, I've got my 1/4 inch foot on. Now that won't do a zigzag, so I'm going to just lift my foot off, okay, and I'm going to get my other foot out. Just keep these 2 feet in here, alright. Put my other one away because quite often you lose that. Pop that one under, drop that foot down, and that's there. That's all ready to go, okay. So hopefully you can see this okay. What we're going to do is we are going to run down on this row just as close to the pin on this side as we can, and then we're going to stop when we get down here, and then we're going to come back onto this side, and we're going to run a row of stitches down as close to the pin as you can on that side, okay. So I'm just going to pop it in there and off we go. I think I'm just going to turn that stitch length because that's being a bit bigger. I think I'm going to go for a smaller stitch length. I'm going to go for a 1. Once you get it on, it just takes a moment to get it on. That's it. Just take your time and let it run along slowly. It's just getting stuck there. That's it. Take that pin out. And it's probably a good idea to put your needle in the down position if you can. Okay. Don't want to pull it too much, you just want to make sure it's just slowly going through. Okay, take that pin out. I don't want that getting too pulled up and either though. there you go. So we've come all the way down with a zigzag stitch from the top to the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to do a little back stitch there. It's quite hard to do the back stitch, and okay, and then we're going to take that one off. And I'm just going to come back and do exactly the same again. So start at the top and just, again, it'll be a bit fiddly getting it on, but you should be okay. So I've just done both sides. Okay, I'm just going to remove it from the sewing machine. Alright, where's my, take my scissors and cut off that loose end. And I'm just going to cut, okay, take your pins out. And I'm just going to come along and cut off that spare piece of paper on the side. I'm not going to use my dressmaking scissors, I nearly did. Just take some scissors and cut along here. Okay. Okay, now what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this off, okay? So we're going to cut it right down the centre there, and then we're going to cut it across the bottom here, and I'll show you why we need to do that in a minute. So I'm going to cut right across the bottom, and I'm just going to cut just under those stitches like that. Okay, don't throw your sock away, because we can use this to make vests, it makes swimming costumes, you can make t-shirts out of it, all different things like that. We will be using them later to do different things. Okay, so there's your socks. So I'm going to come up now, and I'm going to cut in between very carefully. Let's get that piece of thread out of the way. Right, can you see? I'm going to come up now, and I'm going to cut in between those two rows of stitches. Okay. Right, now what you need to do is just go like that, and that paper will just pull right off. So you probably could use a piece, just an ordinary piece of paper. I don't know whether it would work. I don't know whether it would damage your machine, but you know. And then just go along and cut and pull off any bits, which, you know, if you've got some bits of paper, then you can just spend some time pulling that off. All right. And then what we're going to do? Oh, silly me. It won't matter. I've sewn these. It would, if you'd started off and you'd sewn it inside out, it would be better. So you've got your, but we can have the lace going on this way. Next time, before you start sewing your sock, turn it inside out first. Okay, and then you'll have that pretty bit of lace on the outside, rather than I've made a mistake with mine and put it on the inside, but never mind. Okay, so you've got your piece of paper a bit left, and what you want to do now is you want to put your sock onto it, but you want that seam to run down the centre of the back of the sock. Okay, so play around with it and then get that on there, and then we're going to just pin that on in place. All right, onto there. 1 and 2. Okay, now what you can do is, if you want your doll to have a long sock like this, we're just going to take Alice here, pop her on the table. So this sock, if I put this on her, it's going to come up her leg. Oops, it's a bit folded over where I did that. And I could have it going, and it would just finish there, and she could have a sock which would be up like that, there, like that. Okay, and then I would just take my bottom of my sock and I would stitch it across there for that sort of size. All right, so I would put my stitching across here, so that would be going there. But if you wanted her to have an ankle sock, you could make your sock much smaller. Okay, put the row of stitching across here like that, and then you'd have it the right size for an ankle sock. So you have to just judge where you want your sock to be. Okay, so I am going to keep this one, so we're having it with the stitching on the outside at the moment, and we'll just lay that out. I'll pin that on, and then you can see And I'll just go across the front of those socks. 1 and 2. And I am going to come, when I come across, I'm just going to come just about there. I'm not going to go to the very end, I'm just going to bring it in just slightly, okay? So it's exactly the same, on that same stitch, pull that first pin out. It's just going to be getting it on, it just takes a moment or two to get it on. I'm just going to make sure that what I want to do is have a little bit of fabric on this end of it, so I don't want it all the way back over there. Okay, I'm trying to get my hand out of the way as best I can. Okay, and then I'll start getting this on. Okay, and just go all the way to the end. There you go. There we are on that one. I'm just going to lift my needle and my thread. I'm going to do exactly the same on this piece. Okay. Can do a back stitch if you want to. Take out that pin. And there you go. All done. Okay. When I took the sock off, I noticed that that very first one hadn't got quite on to the very end, so I'm just going to give it another little few stitches just to get it to the end. There you go. Alright. Needle up. Okay. That one is we did with the other one, but I'm going to make this one into an ankle sock, okay? So I did have it pinned on. Whoops. Off a minute. Okay, there we go. So just take your time and pull it through. And I'll give you an ankle sock, and then I'll just do exactly the same with this one. Okay. So I just remembered that when I used to use this paper before, if you actually took the paper and you folded it in half like that, it ripped off much easier, so you didn't have to worry about doing that. So you can just hold on to your sock and pull that paper off. Now I expect you could probably use something like just a normal sheet of paper with that. I just was a bit worried about using it on my machine, but if you used it and then you cleaned your machine out afterwards, I'm sure that probably would be fine. Okay, so with the ankle socks, I'm just going to trim away the excess fabric there and there. Okay, and then I'm going to turn them all the right way around. So you'll see that seam then just disappears in the back then. And then you've got your little sock, and the reason why we took it off and did it like that is because I quite like that sock to be nice and neat on that end where it's going to go into the shoe. If you do it the other way, you end up with a lump where the end of it is, so it's quite difficult then to get it. You've got to wiggle it around to get in the shoe. So there's our two little ankle socks. They are the same size, and then we'll just get our longer socks. Now they did have just other packs of socks into Poundland. I just like these because they had the lace, but you could just do them without the lace if you wanted to. And there we go, we've got our 4 little socks. Now what you could do is just go around with your scissors and take off any ends, and you see there's a couple of just little ends there on that piece, which I'm just going to just neaten up on that lacy bit, and the same on the others. So I'll just go around, neaten it up, and then we'll put them on our doll and you can see what she looks like with them on. And these are my ankle socks. They're so sweet. I hope you like them for your dolls. See you later. Goodbye.